Alright gentlemen, so in today's world there's one skill that really stands out. And what is it? It's diplomacy. So in a time where Gen Z, we all have these problems, which are social skills and communication problems, and we all can learn from Philip II, who was the king of the Macedon Empire during those times, which is the master of diplomacy itself. Alright, so let's see. Okay, a little bit about the Macedonian history, right? So these Macedonian people who located here were seen as barbarians. They see as savages who doesn't know anything by the Greek people. The Greek people are at here, at here, alright? They don't see Macedon as civilized people. They don't even consider these Macedonian people as the Greeks himself. So back to the Macedonians empire, how it was built. Started by Amyntas and Alexander. They're the first people who really grew Macedon to a certain foundation. But the greatest thing that changes and revolutionary happens in Philip II right here. This is the goated person when it comes to the Macedonian empire. Then they grew very big and they took over the Peloponnesian wars. They took advantage of it actually, and all the Greek city-states were needed to submit to the Macedonian king Philip II during that time. That's why you see Philip II, one of the persons who has set up the great foundation for his son Alexander the Great to conquer vast amounts of lands. The story of Philip II is what we will be talking about mainly in this video. And after Philip II's death, Alexander the Great started taking over, and boom, they started conquering lands, Persia, and become the greatest empire the world has ever seen to this day. Right, so then slowly they fall to the Roman Empire, which is a complete disaster. Right here, this is how big the empire of Alexander the Great, how big it grew. But then came the Roman Empire and fought with Macedon, and boom, one by one, all it goes down to hell. So right now we are going to talk about how the Greek city-states were largely forced to submit to King Philip II. How was it this Philip II guy was able to unify all the Greek city-states? What makes him so special? And why do Gen Z has to learn from this King Philip II the Great, right? And so we know that the Generation Z, which is also my generation, unfortunately, I mean not so unfortunate, I live to be born into this generation. I really love it. I love the video games, I love the social media, I love to learn everything I could do. Being born in Generation Z is really a privilege, not like most people think, but there's something part of us that we need to learn, such as social skills and communication skills that we lack about, and having real connections with people, right? So this is Philip II. He has one eye out. I'm not really sure why he has the one eye out, but he's the one who sets the foundation for Alexander the Great himself. I am using a red pen. I should be using a green, much better. So the main character here will always be Philip II. Well, yes, Alexander is a great person, but we're not going to talk about him much in this video. We're talking about this real gangster, was the king of all diplomacy. You understand why he is such a great diplomacy action taker. In fact, this guy was very underrated. Many people say that the credit goes to Alexander, should actually go to the Philip II himself. But that's a topic for another day. So the thing about Philip II, he in his early life that he was caught as hostages at Thebes. Thebes If we look back at the map before that, it's just above Sparta and besides to Athens time. So when he was caught at Thebes, he started to mingle around with the Theban people, are very good at wars, and so he learned a lot from there. And then this guy, Philip II, he is known as an outstandingly good speaker with a vast amount of rhetorical skills, right? He is seen as sweet and he is charming. But when all of these reports of him being very charming and sweet and all this good stuff, it is still portrayed as uncivilized by the people of Athens. Why? Because the Athens want to depict him as the enemy. So we can say that Philip II is a great political actor. He knows how to act. He knows how to please people. He is like the people pleaser of every stage of life, every corner of the empire. He knows how to do that, but acting very cunningly and achieving his goals. Right. So here is the story of the great checkmate. Right. So at one point, Philip II is the king at that time. So he sits like right here. And he got checkmate from threats surrounding him. There were Illyrians from the west, trying to attack, capture Macedon. There's Thrace, right, from the north, trying to capture Macedon. And there's Athens. What the fuck is Athens? Alright, Athens right here. They also want Macedon. And to put more disadvantage on Philip II during that time, there were internal conflicts happening in Macedon, making a crazy time to actually rule the Macedon kingdom. And you might be wondering why Thrace, Illyrians, and the Athens wants Macedon so bad. Well, because there's Amphipolis. Amphipolis is a very strategic place when it comes to economics, alright? Because they can, a lot of ships will pass through here, so they can tax all the people passing through here, and it will be good place to gain a lot of money, basically. So how did Philip II manage to overcome all these threats from the west, from the north, from the south, coming from Athens? Alright, first of all, what he did is actually he divide, bribe, and conquer. Yeah, that's the thing he did. Divide, bribe, and conquer. Right. So when fighting Athens, Philip continued to bribe the north, which is the Illyrians right here, and also the west. Oh no, so sorry. The north, the Thrace, and the west, the Illyrians. And then they have also usurpers from Athens, means imposters. Alright, they want to take the Macedonian throne from Athens. So this guy called Pausanias, and Argaeus, which sounds gay. They all tried to take the Macedon throne, but was overthrown by Philip II himself. By, how you guess it? Bribery. Bribery is one of the secret weapons of Macedonians during that time, because Philip II knows what he's doing. So once peace is achieved with the north and the west right here, then Philip II goes and captured Thessaly. But he does not physically force, alright? Waited for internal conflict in Thessaly to happen. Then he becomes the mediator, just like this Obama picture right here. Yeah. And when he becomes the mediator and also bribing and giving gifts, of course, right? There's an outside force attacking Thessaly. Right, so from Pherae attacking Thessaly. Philip II sees this as an opportunity to win the hearts of Thessaly, become and help Thessaly to overcome Pherae. And so with that, actually Thessaly see Philip II as their king. And to even convince them more, he even married the native aristocrats at Thessaly. So Philip II had 7 wives, right? Which all of them he married is for diplomacy. This guy is crazy, man. He doesn't care anything about love. He just wants war, and capturing, and conquering. That he married all of these people because in the war in his mind. Now, when the Macedonians actually got big and all, right? They got Thessaly, they started becoming more stable. they started taking back the places of Illyria and started conquering Thrace. And also, when he conquered Illyria, what he did is he does the mass deportation from Illyria all the way to Macedonia, split them up. Alright, it's the basic divide and conquer rule, where you divide them so they cannot team up together and work against the Macedonian Empire. Well, that's really cool, but a really good strategy at the same time, you know. Then there is the Epirus year, right, which Philip II gave no chance to fight against him, so he conquered him as well. But Philip II doesn't fully conquer Epirus, but they become allies. Then it grew very, very big, started conquering Thermopylae, Caria, and then Chalcis, and then it starts to team up with Thebes. And this is the turning point for Athens and Sparta, because when the Macedonians team up with Thebes, the Athens and Sparta, they cannot attack Macedonia because the Thebes acts as a buffer for them. So when they fight between themselves, you know, Athens fight with Sparta during the Peloponnesian Wars. This King Philip II, he keeps marrying more people and giving bribes and marrying more people and then making more connections and then he give more bribes and then marrying more people, and boom, he started becoming a super big power in the Greek city world. But then this is the sad part of Philip II, where he tries to brag in front of the people that he's saying that he doesn't need anyone, he doesn't need bodyguards and all. So he told his bodyguards to move back 2 steps backwards, and suddenly boom, he got stabbed, which is history. Then Alexander continued his legacy, and you know the rest of the story, right? We're very, very big. So the real takeaway here is that, of course, we have to build strong negotiation and social skills, right? Learn how to manipulate people, but not to manipulate people, but just so you won't get manipulated. Because as you can see, King Philip II himself is a master of manipulation, right? He gives some lands to the Illyrians, hoping that the Illyrians would be nice, and the Illyrians would be nice to him. But when the Macedonians become strong again, he started taking those lands back from the Illyrians. And so we can see that Philip II, he learned so much since he was at Thebes. He was, if you remember correctly, he was caught as hostage at Thebes, but he didn't just become a prisoner there. He carefully learned and mingled with the people around there on how he can be great. In fact, actually, that's where he developed the idea of the Macedonian phalanx, right, which is a super great formation that becomes so deadly that no one can even destroy that formation except for the Roman Empire himself. But it comes to show how important it is for you to mingle around and learn with people, generate ideas and exchange ideas. It's not just Philip II who used diplomacy, right? Of course, I'm talking here like Philip II is the only person who used diplomacy. Of course, it's not, right? Athens, Sparta, Corinth, Thebes, they all have diplomacy skills, but none of them comes as close to Philip II, right? I give Philip II as to this example because his diplomacy skills are just out of this world. He's insane. He's a crazy guy, you know. Other than the Macedonians under King Philip II, who allied with Thebes to conquer Athens and Sparta, we have the Persian Achaemenid Empire, which I made 2 videos about them lately. Formed alliance with the princes of Babylon to capture Neo-Babylonians. That's how they captured Babylon without any bloodshed at all. And if you know Prophet Muhammad, who formed alliances with the people of Medina, and then they make a comeback and capture the holy Mecca. And then we have Cyrus the Great, who married the daughter of Astyages as a diplomatic move to gain the confidence of the Median Empire, just like King Philip II, who had 7 wives, all for the purpose of diplomacy. Then we have the Visigoths, who form alliances with all the Goths tribes and ancient Rome, and to capture Rome. It's crazy. These Visigoths, you know, I got to make a video about these Visigoths, in fact, because these people are crazy, you know. They're like barbarians, but they together they form great alliances with all the tribes and capture Rome. they captured Rome. How crazy is that? The Ottoman Empire allied with France against the Habsburg. And then we have the Mongols allied with Song China to conquer the Jin dynasty. The Byzantine Empire allied with Ivan Rus against the Khazars. Of course, these are all basic knowledge, you know. Everybody knows diplomacy is important. Everybody knows social skills and negotiation skills is important. But why today we are so lacking in it that we don't even try to learn about it? We see them as just electives that we don't have to be good at it. But if we look throughout history, you know, even in the modern days, right, that these skills are so important. Communication skills. When you go to work, your bosses and most employers are not going to see what your degree is like. I mean, everybody has a degree today, right? But separates you from other people is the communication skills you have. And that's what my ex also said to me, like, you got to learn how to speak properly. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'm babbling a lot right here. So we can see, even in the modern world, right, the NATO alliance during the Cold War deterred Soviet aggression, the US-China alliance in World War II to defeat Japan, and also let's not forget the Allied powers to stop the Nazis, right? Without realizing, diplomacy is used by us in everyday life. We use them in everyday life, but some people use more than the others, right? So that's why some people are more successful than the others. See, Nike teaming up with Michael Jordan to create the school sneakers Air Jordan, which I love so much, right? Elon Musk secured government subsidies from Tesla, NASA, contracts for SpaceX, right? We see that Tim Cook's billions with long-term contracts manufacture Foxconn and component suppliers, which make Apple one of the greatest phone brands in the whole world. And I don't care what people say, I prefer Apple than any other phone like Samsung. I'm typical Gen Z anyways. Alright, so remember guys, when the snow falls and the white wind blows, the lone wolf dies but the pack survives. It's one of my favorite quotes because you cannot be a lone wolf in a human society. The lone wolf always dies. We are meant to connect with others. We are meant to be with others, work with others, right? To exchange ideas, to talk with them and collaborate and you know all what's the rest of it. Don't be this stupid introvert who sits at the corner of the class and does nothing but only does his own work with his own specificity of what he knows. Go out and reach out to other people, right? Mingle with other people, because this should be a general knowledge, not a knowledge it's like, oh, this is something new to me. Everybody knows that we should always team up to be stronger, but no one is doing that. I mean, in Generation Z, I mean, that no one is actually teaming up with each other and forming alliances. People are more likely to stay indoors with their phone, opening their favorite clapping chicks videos and just fap to that. That's all what they can do. They have nothing, and even if they work on the thing, they do it alone. They have no special friends who help them as well. Anyways, I'm babbling too much right now. Always remember, right, being a Gen Z is not an excuse to be socially awkward, right? In fact, it's the best time to improve your social skills and diplomacy skills. And you can do it even better with all these technologies like WhatsApp, Discord, Telegram, and School, which right time to share it to you all that my badass communication tribe is perfect for those who wants to upgrade themselves with social skills, confidence, productivity, forming a brotherhood, all that good shit, you know. Also, you'll get all my paid products for free. So don't be the lone wolf, alright? Be the pack. Stronger together. So take care and be a fucking rock.